Hi everyone. Oh, it's been a while. I just kind of was in a slump with modeling. So anyway, I'm out of it. Back in it again, trying to get this Blitzen Benz finished. It's actually very close. I'm ready to put the body on here soon. In fact, I kind of wanted to do that here this last week. Okay, I ran into, instead of using what I used before, I'm using a drive belt for a CD-ROM. I have several that, so I'm using that. It was too long, so I had to cut it. It don't matter. It actually worked quite well. It was a bit long. Using super glue to hold it. And the seams on the bottom, you'll never see it. First of all, I can take a picture so you can. And it's the proper color. Who knew? So I noticed my fan blade broke a blade off, and I never did stick it on, and guess what? It broke off again, only a different one. Who knew? Definitely not me. What I did is I put this, the water manifold coming from the water pump on the motor, and it was twisted too far forward. It needed to be brought back, so I ended up having to break it off and resolder it. It looked easy. Believe me, it wasn't. I have no idea what I'm doing there, but I had the blue paint. I think I was touching up some, the body. Yeah. Right there I'm pointing out, I should have slowed it down there, darn it. There was a crack when I drilled the for the fuel in the back, in the tail. It cracked a piece off, and I'm like, you're kidding me. So I'm just dabbing some paint on the that side of the car, but where the crack is filling it up, and I ended up using a latex paint or putty that I thinned and put it in there. That worked real well. So here I'm trying to get it. Notice how complex it all of a sudden got, huh? There, that one worked. Notice I had to flip it the other way. I was doing it wrong. So I had nothing but trouble with my soldering iron not wanting to tin. It wouldn't let it flow like it should have. And I'm cleaning it up really quick. So it really, I battled it with this and some other things that I used, that I had to make, which you're going to see, is the grease cups for the water pump. Grease cup for the water pump. There's two bearings on it that needed grease to keep them functionally happy without water running over them. Yes, at that time, in World War I, they did not figure out how to make a packing that would hold grease and not let water in. Weird, huh? I got documentation if you want to see it. Yeah. I'm not saying America, I'm talking about, well, to 1918 at least. They couldn't figure it out on these big cars, like the big engines. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to paint the, which is kind of a rusty light orange, the hose, so they can take it apart. And I still got to make, and I'm going to do that soon, like right now. I think I had noticed all the cuts in it. I was like, you idiot, you shouldn't. I just didn't. Got a long enough piece there. I grab another one. Using my rather dull utility, or number 11 blade. I was eyeballing how big a round to make it about, and I actually hit it pretty darn good. Usually doesn't work that way. Just the way it worked that night. And I also polished up the copper, even though I know it's going to patina like the original and that, so now I'm just taking, you might not be able to see it very well, obviously it's focusing on my hand. What I'm doing is a wash over the edges and sides to give it a little bit of actually it's kind of a shadow. Yeah, this ain't looking right, and that looks like it's really, really black. And what happens is get my hand away from there. It dries very light. It isn't as dark as it is. Now I'm making the water pump. And I need, there's a shaft that goes from the lower part of the cam gear. There's another gear there for the where it hooks up to spin the water pump, and then it also runs a magneto, the back magneto. There's an upper drive, which you'll see, where the magneto on the front of the engine is driven by a shaft too, but it's not powering anything other than the mag. First thing I gotta do is set this, while I make this, I'm cutting some disc out with a leather punch. Taking it off is taking the one end off. That's what I like about this one I got, is then you can just reach through and poke them out the other side. There was these little kind of like, I can't think of, like a coupler, and it wasn't very wide even in the photos. You can see it, and the coupler was before the water pump and after. Makes sense. So anyway, it just looked like a flat disc in photos. Weird. Anyway, I'm got to make so it make the water pump part. It's kind of a elongated body. You can see I got the little disc on in front of it. I'll let that set and dry. It must have fell off. And the disc I put on there is just with super glue on that's a actual metal rod with plastic on it, made by Plastistruct. I love this stuff. Makes great axles on World War I aircraft. It's actually well, I can't say it's a hardened steel, but it's better than a wire. It's straight as a string. Doesn't like bending too much. I made something that I seen Pete at Pete Models Car Customs that I'm doing the groove there for the pipe to fit in. I ended up making some a while ago with putty with what the heck's it? Acetone and white styrene, like what I'm making the parts out of. And that stuff worked good. It dried quick and I could work on it, no problem. Now I've been going through bigger, you can't see me test it. I got it snugged in too close. There we go. And there's another pipe coming out of the bottom that goes towards the bottom of the radiator. I have no idea. Other than what I've seen in life, what it looks like. So it's got to be on the side of the pump at the bottom somewhere. I have no idea. There's nothing on it that I've seen photographic wise. Trying to get a part out, obviously. The only thing I don't like about this this leather punch is it's not tapered. So you got the bore is the whole length. So you got to make sure you don't get a bunch stacked, or you'll never get it out. I keep wanting to put where the spark plugs are. Yeah, it's been super glued on. Drilling out another hole for the other one on the other side. And when I get this done, I gotta make for the mags, magnetos, Bosch. Same ones used in World War I. Instead of a 4-cylinder, it's a 6, and there was 2 mags. A set of plugs on one side and a set on the other, not like this one where they're all on the same side. And after I did this, I got looking at it, I went, they ain't wide enough. So I had to thicken them up. But I'll let you watch this. But the height and width are somewhat correct. Just trimming some fuzz off them. That was, I believe, 40,000's card. I should have, no, it wasn't. It was 60. And I ended up adding another 20 to it. Not right now, but you'll see. All this I'm doing right now that you see me sticking on now gets tossed. Not the parts, not the main parts, but the little bit in the front there. These are kind of bread loaf shaped. fact, I don't even know if I show it, me doing it, making them thicker. Now, the fun part. I'm making, it's a U-shaped grease piping, and the grease cap, which you give it a turn or a half turn just before you drive it to start the motor up, and then that will grease the water pump bearing. And there's other ones too that's around that. There's a bunch of caps on the top of the motor, and I believe, I'm not sure, but I think it's for priming the engine. They open them up and they put benzene in it. Used to be, I don't know what they do now, and they would put that in there and then turn the motor to top dead center, and then hit the starter mag, which is, you spin it and it would run. But this thing here had a coil that I think I don't actually see them. I think they charge the coil up by spinning it, and then it fires. It took them a while to get the thing started that I watched. What I mean is, it took about 10 minutes. They weren't like cranking it like a Model T. They were mostly just putting it to TDC, rotating around, let that fuel get around everything, and then when they hit the coil, it fires across all 4 cylinders. And that, I first glued it with super glue, and then it broke right away, and I'm like, I'm gonna solder it. There I am, I'm making it wider. It needed done. Hear the squeaking in the background? That's my dog playing with a toy. Now, what I'm making here in the snap, because it's very thin, it's 10,000ths, there's a hold down onto the block. There's a flat plate on the block that these hold downs go to, and that holds the mag in place. And then there was a hinge at the top of it, and I put a piece of plastic on the top to make the hinge look like it. Sorry about that. Well, we're about done with this video, and there's going to be another one here shortly again. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in a bit.